So you've probably been busy all week, you've got jobs lined up, and you're still working nonstop, but why doesn't your bank account show it? So there's two main things to take in here. Number one, being busy isn't the same as being profitable. And so the reason most contractors stay broke even when they're busy is again, as I told you before, is inconsistency. So again, my name is Luca. I own LiftPoint. We basically help contractors, so decking contractors, concrete contractors, roofing, anything, you name it. We help you guys get more leads and more qualified estimates directly on your calendar. And it's not the bullshit Angie leads. All of our estimates have an 80% close rate, and all of our leads have a 1 in 3 booking rate. And so they're qualified leads and qualified estimates. So let's get to it. The uncomfortable truth is it's not what you think the problem is. So it's not enough leads. It's bad platform, wrong agency. It's none of that. What's actually killing you is a random low margin jobs, no control what actually comes in, and panic spending when it's slow. So this is what it actually looks like. So the gray lines is how busy you are, but what you're actually taking home is way less of what you're actually doing. And so you should be at least a good bit higher than that. Okay, so today I'm actually going to show you how to fix it and why it actually keeps happening. Because busy doesn't mean profitable, more jobs doesn't mean more money, and working hard doesn't mean building wealth. So how do you actually do it? This is a price problem, okay? This is one of the biggest problem contractors face. With inconsistency, I talked about it in the last video. With inconsistency, you don't have the courtesy of choosing what jobs. So you got to take the lower jobs. So you take the lower jobs. The price felt okay at the time. It was still a small job, but you decided to take it. 60 days later, but 60 days later. Okay, so section two is the price problem. So I talked about it in the last video. If you're inconsistent, you don't have the courtesy to actually pick what job you want. You gotta, play with the hands you're dealt with. So what you do, you take the lower jobs because it's the only thing you know how to do. Then the price felt okay at the time. Yes, it was a slower job, and yes, you had to underbid, but it wasn't super bad. But 60 days later, it's still going to be costing you, right? So a low price job doesn't hurt you the day you quote it, because that's fine. It just creates a chain reaction that touches your materials, your schedule, and your next bookings and jobs. So weeks, even months down the road. So this is how it actually would play out. You quote low to win the job, right? Let's just say, competitors are quoting 8,000, 9,000. You quote 5,000 or 4,000 because other people are quoting higher and they're already a price shopper. And so let's just say 400 for a different type of contractor. Let's just say an average of 4 or 5,000. Feels fine. Work is work. But you cut corners on the material, right? So margin is thin, so you go with the cheaper supplier. Let's just say you can't afford the higher quality materials with a lower price job, right? So you quote $4,500, they pay you. You got to get the materials that cost less. So let's just say $1,800, even $2,000, okay? And so it's close enough, and it saves about $1,000 with that kind of price. That's very important. So the job runs longer than you expected. That's just because of the quality of the materials, right? And so cheaper materials cause small issues, and they're fixed as you go. So you're now behind on your next meeting because maybe a week down the line, when you're completing the driveway, or let's just say you're a concrete contractor, let's just say you complete the driveway, you check back, oh, there's cracks in the concrete, or you're a decking contractor, you get the cheaper wood, and it starts cracking that too, or it gets humid, or it gets wet, and when it rains, the quality isn't as good, and it doesn't absorb the heat as well. There's millions of problems that could go wrong, right? And so it keeps delaying your next booking and your next jobs. And so your next client is already frustrated. You're late starting their job. They were referred to you, and this is your first impression. So it's already shit. Excuse my French. Okay. And so the original client calls back, something failed again. So you got to go back and basically restart from scratch. So one bad quote plays out really, really bad for you. And so the cost breakdown, let's just say the quote we said 4,500, the materials is going to be close to 2,000. Lost time, it's going to cost you about 800, 900. And the callback, you got to repay for all the materials, do it completely for free. It's going to cost you another 1,500 to 2,000. That's still, I'm not sure what the math is on that. It's not good, right? And so basically, low price is low materials, bad materials is blown timelines, and blown timelines is damaged reputation. It's a downward spiral, okay? And so how do you actually fix it? And so I've been helping contractors do this for the past 9 years. What do you actually have to do? You stop taking every single job. That's the first thing you got to stop doing. And when you start choosing the right ones, that's gonna scale your business to the moon. And what do I mean by that? So you're gonna do the job filter. So you run every quote through this. So does the margin cover materials, labor, and profit? You don't have to just be break even. You're actually profit after everything. So you need to calculate that in. Okay, everything's cool? Okay, perfect. Can I source good materials at this price? Not the cheap ones, the good ones that actually bring quality work. Cool, I can? Perfect. If not, the job is underpriced. And does the timeline fit without rushing another job? Some people want it 2 months out, 3 months out because they got a plan or they got to think about it. Don't deal with those clients, okay? Because it's gonna make a mess, okay? And so you want it to be on your timeline or at least in the next 2 to 3 weeks, and that's what we get you. And also, is this the type of work I want more of? Let's just say you sign a little bit of a smaller job, 4,500, and but then he refers you to other people, and you start getting a bad referral and bad referral one after another, so you start getting the lower price jobs in general, which just amplifies your same problem. And so it's just again a really bad downward spiral. And so and so fewer jobs is equal to more money, and I'm gonna explain why. If you take every job, let's just say 5 jobs with an average of 5,500 each, really, really low. Okay. That's 2,700 or 27,500. So the materials are going to cost you way more. It's 13,700 because yes, they're supposed to be cheaper, right? But what happens is you got to go over it, you got to redo the materials, you got to redo the cost of it, and it's going to cost you way more. Normally it's about twice. And so after that, you got the labor overrun. So you got to repay your guys. You got to pay them the extra hours to complete the job for free because you made a mistake. And one callback, at least one, because you did a shit job and you got to redo the whole job site, right? And so you keep 1,200 at the end of the day, or 12,000, sorry. If you choose the right jobs, here's what happens. You get 3 jobs, an average of 9,500, and that's on the low end. With that, you're going to get 2,800 or 28,500 in revenue. More or less the same revenue, but here's the game changer. Materials, there are only 3 jobs, not 5, so it's going to cost less. It's the materials, even if they're higher quality, they're still going to cost less. And so it's going to be 6,300, let's just say, round it out, okay? So 6,300 for the good materials, labor on schedule, you don't have to repay your guys for the extra work. And then the callbacks, you don't even get a single one. So you don't have to spend the money on the callbacks. So guess what? You keep 21,000. By getting 2 fewer jobs, same revenue, more or less, $1,000 change, you keep 9,000 more. In your next month, you don't start in a hole because your job's going to get pushed out and pushed out even more. You start with 9,000 extra per month, okay? And so what do you actually say when you got to walk away from a job? Don't be afraid to do it. You're going to say, yeah, my schedule's full right now. I'd rather not rush your job. Here's someone who can help. You're going to refer it to someone else because you get a commission off that. If you know him, you're going to get a good commission off it and you still make money. And so what else do you say? To do this, I'd need to be at X amount. If that doesn't work, I completely understand. You tell them the truth. You tell them all of this process. You told them the process I told you. Okay? And so you explain, hey, it's going to cost this much because otherwise they're going to have problems. There's going to be cracks. People that offer a lower price, they're just going to have the same problems. They just don't want to tell you up front. Okay? And so that's going to not only build more trust, it's going to be more likely they'll decide to go with the higher price. And I can make it work that price, but it'd have to cut corners, and I'm not comfortable doing it, right? Same exact thing. Cheaper materials, it's gonna be a headache, okay? So saying no to the wrong job is how you make room for the right one. And so the filter isn't about being picky in which job it is. It's about staying profitable. And so you run it through the filter. If all the math makes sense in your head, cool, you can book it in. And so how to make sure the right jobs keep finding you consistently. So how do you do this? I'll explain what we do and you can copy us or you can let us do it for you. So what do we do? Straight off the bat, we target the right people. So what does that mean? We don't get the price shoppers and want the 5,500 jobs. We get the higher income people. So that's what we call the front end targeting. We basically target people that are making at least 120,000 a year. That's what we found works best. We catch their interest and we qualify them. So we qualify them based on budget, so you know you can calculate in advance if that's going to be enough. If it isn't, we just disqualify them. You don't even get it through the system. Number two is timeline. Okay, if it's 2 weeks down the line, perfect. If it's 3 months, okay, that's too late because it's going to call headaches and they're going to reschedule and it's going to be too far ahead. So if the timeline works with you, that's when we'll book it in. Number three, it's going to be the job size. We don't want the smaller jobs because you're gonna have to go for the cheaper materials anyway, because it's not gonna be a big enough job. We're gonna go, for example, for concrete, our standard is 1,000 square foot. For decking, we've got a minimum of a $12,000 job, for example. Right, and so we got parameters set for each contracting niche. And so once they're qualified, once they pass all of this qualification, that's when they can book a time for an estimate. And again, it's all synced with your timeline. We'll put a personal calendar for you, which goes around your timeline. You don't need to be worrying about booking them in when a time doesn't work. It'll show the available times and it won't show the ones where you're busy. Okay, so it's all done for you. And then once an estimate comes in, it's really, really easy. You pay us per result. So it's either pay per job, it's either pay per qualified estimate, or it's either pay per lead. So we're changing it constantly. But I'll tell you this, with our estimates, we get an 80% close rate, and with our leads, we get a 1 in 3 booking rate. So 1 in 3 leads becomes an estimate, and 80% of our estimates close. So how do you get this? What we can do, you can either do it yourself, learn from our YouTube videos and implement it in your own business, or you can book a call with us. So it's going to be in the link down in the description. And so you can book a call with me directly. It's going to be a quick 20, 30 minutes. And I'm going to find out first more about your business. I'm going to ask what you can handle, what you need, what kind of contract you are, and where you want to be. And so based on these answers, I can target it directly for you and direct pricing that I think would work with you. And so if everything works out, I'm going to show you the system a little bit more because there's a little bit more to it, and I can't share everything on YouTube, otherwise my secrets would be out. And so we can make it work with you directly, whether you're in roofing, decking, concrete, garage doors, whatever. We can make it, okay? And so book a call down below if you want to learn more on how to do it. And so we can get you on board and we can get you set up to get these results, okay? So my name is Luca. Again, I own LiftPoint, and I'll see you all in the next video.